You have a secret superpower. Seriously, it's a mental tool you use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. And it's what allows you to turn total chaos into perfect order. So today, we're going to unpack what it is and show you how you're already a master at it.
Okay, picture this. You just got home from the grocery store. What do? You don't just dump everything on the floor, right? No, you instinctively put the ice cream in the freezer, veggies in the fridge, and cereal in the pantry.
Or how about movie night? When you open up a streaming service, you're not scrolling through thousands of titles one by one. Of course not, you're filtering. You pick a genre, maybe you look for a specific actor, or you see what's trending.
And just take a look at your phone. I'm willing to bet your apps aren't just a random jumble. You've probably got them in folders, right? Social media over here, work stuff over there, games in another spot.
So what's the deal here? All these different actions, sorting groceries, picking a movie, organizing apps, what is the one common thread that ties them all together?
Well, the name for this superpower is classification. And here's the best part. This isn't some complicated thing you have to go learn. It's something your brain is doing constantly, every single moment of the day. You're already a pro.
So, since we're all apparently experts at this, let's actually pull back the curtain. How does this skill really work? Let's break down the art of sorting.
At its very core, classification really boils down to two simple moves: grouping and division. You group similar things together, and to do that, you first have to divide them from the things that are different. They're basically two sides of the exact same coin. You literally can't do one without doing the other.
But it gets a little more sophisticated than just putting things in piles. Let's use a big exam as an example. First, you do a simple grouping. You separate everyone into successful and unsuccessful. But you can't stop there. For the successful ones, you then have to rank them based on their scores. And finally, you give them a code, rank number 1, number 2, number 3, to lock in their exact position. That whole process, that's classification in its final form.
Okay, so that's the process. But how do we even decide which group something belongs in? What are the rules of the game for building these categories?
Well, it all comes down to one key ingredient called a characteristic. Now, that's just a word for the specific quality or attribute you decide to use as your sorting rule. So, for instance, if you're sorting people, you could use gender as the characteristic, and that would give you the groups males and females. It's the filter you choose to apply.
Let's actually try to build a category right now. It's pretty simple. You start with a genus, which is just a fancy name for any big general group. For our example, let's use tables.
Okay, so we've got our big group. Now we add a difference, which is just our chosen characteristic, our sorting rule. For tables, a great characteristic to use would be material.
And boom, just like that, by applying that one characteristic, you create all these new, more specific subgroups, which we call species. So we went from the giant idea of tables to these really clear categories: glass tables, wooden tables, plastic tables. You get the idea. That's the engine right there. So we know how it works. But the bigger question is, why? Why is this simple act of sorting so incredibly important? Let's dive into the why. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? A heap of bricks is just a heap. It's chaos. But in a mansion, every single one of those bricks has been given a specific place and purpose. It's the classification that creates structure, and that's what gives it value. Here's another amazing way to look at it. A mob and an army are both just big groups of people. But an army is coordinated. It's controlled. People are organized by rank, by role, by unit. It's that classification that gives it power and makes it effective. So really, that's the bottom line. Classification is the fundamental act of creating order where there was none before. It is the absolute engine of all organization, from how you arrange your bookshelf to how a global corporation runs. All right, let's zoom out for a second and look at the real big picture. How does this one skill really impact just about every corner of our world? Well, it turns out this power unlocks 3 huge things for us. First, better management. Think about it. A post office sorting mail, a business organizing its inventory. Good classification saves a ton of time, money, and energy. Second, aesthetics. Yep, beauty. When you pick an outfit that matches or arrange furniture in a room, you're using classification to create something that looks good. And third, and this one is massive, knowledge creation. Scientists classify species, stars, and elements to see patterns and make incredible discoveries. And it's not just about organizing stuff in the outside world, it's about organizing your own thoughts. The brilliant thinker S.R. Ranganathan put it perfectly. He said that our ability to think sharply,
to express ourselves clearly, and to communicate exactly all comes down to how well we classify ideas in our own minds.
There's an old saying that to learn to classify is itself an education. So, if this one skill is really the foundation for building everything from a mansion to new knowledge, I guess my only question for you is, what part of your world are you going to organize next?